Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today we have a question from our friend No. Maybe it's Chinese R? No isn't a Chinese word. Anyway, our friend says, Ramsey, are my wrists supposed to hurt from boxing? I have pain at times and it hinders my performance in training. And I don't know if it is supposed to hurt. I only started boxing recently about a month ago. That is fairly common among new boxing trainees, but it's not what is supposed to happen. What often happens in boxing and other martial arts where you learn how to punch is they will teach you how to punch correctly early on, how to put your weight and your power behind it, how to get your feet and your legs under you, how to get your shoulders into it, how to throw your body weight around, and how to receive all of that impact on our hand at the end of the fist. And when you start out, you have a lot of body weight. Remember what Jack Dempsey said early on in his book, Championship Fighting, which you should all read. Imagine a baby up at the top of a building, a big tall building, and there's a big, tough, strong man walking around at the bottom. And then that baby crawls out the window and falls multiple stories, hits the man on the head and kills him. How did a small infant child kill a full-grown man? Because it had weight and it had momentum and it picked up speed and then boom, right? So you must always remember, you are bigger than a baby. And you don't have to jump out of a window to produce an enormous amount of power. So that's great news, but also it's kind of bad news when you start out because your wrists are not yet able to support that kind of power. You might have some bone alignment issues. It might be when you are punching that your metacarpals, that's the bones in the hand right here that run up and down. If you flex, you might see them popping out a little bit. It connects those to your radius and your ulna, the wrist bones right there. And then that's connected to the knuckles right here, whether you're punching with 2-knuckle contact or 3-knuckle contact. Get into an argument about that in the comments down below. I would appreciate that. Help this video get more views or whatever with more people typing comments, right? But whatever type of punching you're using, you want your hand aligned with your wrist. And what might be happening, you might be connecting and twisting the wrist this way or that way or something, maybe this way or that way. And on impact with all that power behind it, it's going to bend. And essentially you're going to wrist lock yourself. You ever seen like an Aikido demonstration where they twist the wrists around? That's the objective, is to twist and bend the wrist and make it hurt so you can manipulate somebody or make them give up or throw them around or whatever. I really do like wrist locks, by the way. I use them a lot when I spar. Not the way Aikido practitioners do. I generally pin the other guy first because it's so much easier to wrist lock him when you pin him. But I digress. Let's get back to boxing. So keep track of what your wrist is doing. If you feel it's twisting or bending on impact, fix that. Okay? Fix that. So on impact, we want to tighten up the fist, and as we tighten it, get our hand into the correct position so it's aligned with the wrist bones. When you start out, especially when you start out, when you throw the volume of punches that you will in boxing training, you should wrap your hands. Wrist wraps. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video about 3 different ways to wrap up your wrists that are easy and quick to learn and to do, and offer a lot of supportive structure on the wrist to help prevent it from twisting and bending in uncomfortable and dangerous ways. A lot of people worry too much about padding over the knuckles. You don't really need padding over the knuckles. You need your bones aligned correctly. especially at the wrist. The boxing glove does a lot of the work for you, shaping your hands into these weird, unnatural fists. But you have to do something to prevent those wrists from bending. I would recommend when you are starting out, especially if you're experiencing wrist pain, don't even bother trying to develop power right now. Yeah, learn the correct form, learn your falling steps, learn your shoulder whirl, learn to commit your body weight into things, but if you are slamming 900-pound punches into a heavy bag, hundreds of times in a row, every single round, doing who knows how many rounds in an hour, hour and a half, 2-hour class, however long that is, that's going to take a toll on your wrists. So maybe lighten up a bit. I made this video I thought was really stupid and nobody was going to watch, and everybody's watching it and commenting on it to this day. It's called something about conditioning your knuckles. And I basically said start out really small, just kind of gently wrapping your knuckles on something, make sure the wrist is aligned correctly, and then gradually over time, when that gets easier, go harder, and then harder, and then harder, and then eventually you'll be able to punch really hard without a problem. Same basic idea. I came from bare knuckle martial arts, taekwondo and karate, before I ever put on a pair of boxing gloves. I spent many hundreds of hours with this type of sparring, this type of training. Anytime I hit a bag or a pad or whatever, it was always bare knuckle. And when you do that, you have to learn quickly to use correct bone alignment. Otherwise, you will get hurt. It's a very quick lesson and a painful one, and it takes time to recover from. And hopefully you don't get like a ganglion cyst on your wrist from making too many mistakes. So avoid all the mistakes you possibly can. So in a boxing class, to sum up a few things. One, go a lot lighter, because you are much, much more powerful than your wrists are currently able to withstand right now. Two, use safety equipment, wrist wraps, boxing gloves. And what was the third one? Oh yeah. Get out there and train.